Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. And before we dive into today's episode, which is Kyle Richards quietly clapping back at all of her haters regarding her decision to stop drinking. Now, I am definitely not one of those people because I actually think it's great that Kyle decided to stop drinking, and I do think the narrative around, oh, you're not fun anymore, or this is why your relationship is suffering because you're not drinking, is a very dangerous narrative and a very incorrect one. So, on this particular issue, I actually stand with Carl Richards. So, before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. So, with that, let's go. This is from page 6. It says Kyle Richards doubled down on her claims that she didn't quit drinking due to alcoholism. You can just outgrow alcohol, read an image the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star shared to her Instagram story on Saturday. That is what is on the screen. That's the image that she shared. You don't have to be an alcoholic or hit rock bottom. You're allowed to just wake up and decide to carve out a different path anytime you like. I agree with this 100%. I don't think that Kyle stopped drinking because she's an alcoholic. I think she stopped drinking because she realized the effect that alcohol had on her mood and mental health, which is different than being an alcoholic. That's a part of alcoholism, but it's not the same as being an addict, right? They can be a part of the disease, but it doesn't mean that you are an addict or an alcoholic because it alters your mood. Alcohol in and of itself or any drug is mind altering. That's why you drink. That's why you take a drug because it changes you. And she had talked about how she couldn't afford to be depressed right now, and that even having 2 glasses of wine would depress her. And I applaud her for being so honest and vulnerable about that. I think that if more people, um, you know, opened up about how they're feeling and what's going on with them, it would help a lot of people grow. So I definitely applaud Kyle for being honest about that. Okay. It's unclear whether viewers or people close to her have accused Richards of having a drinking problem. However, her co star Sutton Stracke pressed her about her decision to give up booze on the latest season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Last month, Richards told Page Six's Danny Murphy and Evan Reel on the virtual reality tea podcast at BravoCon that she is not an alcoholic, but rather gave up drinking for fitness and health reasons. The Bravo celebrity, who celebrated a year of no alcohol in July, told us at the time that her choice to put down the bottle came with a multitude of consequences. A multitude of consequences and benefits. I've suffered from anxiety for my entire life, she explained. So to all of a sudden have my anxiety be so minimized at a time that it should be at its worst, I was really surprised by that. I didn't even take Lexapro anymore. That's good. If alcohol is really like not taking alcohol has helped her to, manage her anxiety, not be depressed, and then I'm all here for it. And I think it's great she's talking about it. What I don't think is great is how she kind of threw in Sutton's face, like, "Oh, you're asking me about my drinking, but like you're a drunk, like you're always drinking. Is this your fifth drink?" And then having, her sidekick Dorit be like, "Oh, I think Sutton puts vodka in her coffee in the morning, and she gets so aggressive and violent when she drinks, and she's been so different." It's kind of like, okay, Kyle, on one hand, I really applaud you that you're talking about not drinking and this is why you're not drinking. Doesn't mean you're an alcoholic, doesn't mean you hit rock bottom, but these are the reasons why you're not drinking and you don't want those labels on you. I think that's great to be so vocal and so vulnerable about that. But then on the other hand, to flip it and weaponize drinking and who chooses to drink or how much they choose to drink or not drink into somebody's face and basically accuse them of being an alcoholic, Sutton. And then you did call your own sister an alcoholic. In earlier seasons of the show, Kim Richards, you outed her alcoholism. To me, that's the height of hypocrisy. You can't say no one gets to question my drinking, how much I drink or how little I drink. No one gets to label me anything, but yet you have done this to not only your own sister in the past, but you're also doing it to your co-star and I guess estranged friend Sutton at this point. So it cuts both ways. Hold yourself accountable. Because I don't think that Sutton was trying to call you an alcoholic. Sutton was just saying, "Hey, you're making a ton of life choices and changes. I think it has something to do with your marriage. What's going on? You're losing weight, you're not drinking." She was basically naming the areas of your life that was drastically changing because everybody thought something was going on in your marriage. She wasn't saying it as like you're an alcoholic. So for then you to turn around because you're being triggered and because you don't want to be honest about what's really going on with you get more honest as the season goes on. You then turn around and try and make it like she's an alcoholic or that she has disordered eating, because she talked about your weight loss and working out and everything. So if you want people to respect your life choices and the boundaries that you set in place, you need to lead by example and do the same because I'm actually on your side with this. I do think that you not drinking is a smart decision. Doesn't mean you're an alcoholic, doesn't mean you hit rock bottom. And I do think the narrative of Kyle's not fun anymore, she's not doing splits, she's not, doing all of this stuff. Is this why she's having problems in her marriage? Because she's not drinking. I do think that's doing a disservice to anyone who wants to stop drinking or cut back. Because a lot of people think, well, if I'm not drinking, then I'm not going to be the fun friend. I'm not going to have any friends. No one's going to want to go out with me. People are going to look at me weird. Is my partner going to think of me differently if I'm not drinking? So to put the narrative out that you're not fun or that your partner loves you less because you're not drinking is very, very dangerous. So I do agree with Kyle on that point, but she has to sort of reel in her hypocrisy and just be honest. I'm not drinking because of this. I'm working out because of this. This is what's going on. And just because somebody asks you a question doesn't mean they're attacking you, doesn't mean they're labeling you. It just means they are literally doing their job and they're asking you questions about your life that you very publicly put out there. And that's really the issue I have. It's the hypocrisy of it because Kyle is actually right here about her own life. But when she does it to other people, that's when she loses that right footing. You know? Okay. Now she says, Richard, to separate it from estranged husband Mauricio Umansky in July, added that while she was going through a really hard time, she was remaining really strong. I stopped drinking and I'm just doing everything I can to be as strong as I can, and it's working. So I'm grateful, she said. So, yeah, that's the thing, Kyle. Like I'm happy that you're getting better. I'm happy that you're getting help. I'm happy that you stopped drinking. I think that's a great thing because like she was talking about the depression, as we know, her childhood best friend unfortunately had taken her own life, and that was a big reason why Kyle stopped drinking and turned a new leaf and why she can't afford to be depressed right now. And I think that's really smart. And I wonder, not in a morbid way, but in a very like human to human curiosity way, if her friend maybe was drinking a little bit too much the moment she decided to, take her own life, if her friend maybe was obviously going through depression to make that choice, maybe there was some stuff going on with her friend that she doesn't want to fall into that same mind state, that same mental space, that same dark place that her friend was in. So maybe this is her way of protecting herself to not have those thoughts, because that's what it really sounded like to me when she was like, I can't afford to be depressed right now. It sounded like I can't afford to have the thoughts my friend had right now, So my heart does go out to Kyle and I hope she gets all the help she needs. Doesn't mean she's an alcoholic, doesn't mean she hit rock bottom, doesn't mean any of that. I just mean like as a human being, I do have empathy for her. But again, it's the hypocrisy for me because when Lisa Vanderpump lost her brother to him taking his own life, she had zero empathy and grace for her. When Sutton opened up about her PTSD from her father, who also took his own life, she had zero empathy and compassion for her. So again, it's when Kyle is going through these very traumatic, vulnerable moments, she expects the world to have all of the grace and understanding and sympathy for her. But when people around her go through those same exact traumas and vulnerabilities, she dismisses them and has no empathy and no grace for them. And that's where the hangup is. that's where the hook is, where it's like, Kyle, you want to have grace for her and empathy, but then you see how dismissive she is to people who are going through same or similar situations that she wants all of this grace for. And I understand hindsight being 2020, but at this point, she should at least acknowledge it and be like, you know what, Kim, I am so sorry that I outed you as being an alcoholic. Sutton, I am so sorry that I didn't have any grace for you when you talked about your PTSD from your father taking his own life. Lisa Vanderpump, I'm so sorry that I dismissed you and said everybody has stuff going on when you were grieving the loss of your brother due to him taking his own life, and take accountability for it now, because nobody's perfect. We've all made mistakes. We've all been insensitive and dismissive, but there comes a time where you have to take ownership and responsibility and say, hey, you know what? This is where I failed you. This is where I messed up, and I'm sorry. That would go so far with Kyle, but I just don't think we're ever really going to get that. I don't think we're going to get that level of self-awareness from her. But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. What do you think about Kyle saying that she didn't hit rock bottom, she's not an alcoholic, and people need to mind their own business, she's just choosing a different path, but yet she hasn't taken any accountability for calling other people alcoholics and talking about their drinking on camera? And do you think maybe I don't know. I don't even wanna go there, but just put it down below what your thoughts are, and I will talk to you guys next time. So be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Bye.